growing up in a large city and having all of my food come to me through an industrial agricultural system, I did not understand the seasonality of food. If you eat tomatoes all year that don't taste very good, then there's nothing, it's not that exciting to eat a tomato. But if you sort of only eat tomatoes when you have them, then it's like the most exciting thing. And so it brings, the more that I learn about different, the seasonality of all of the food that we eat, because I think that it's not just tomatoes and strawberries and asparagus, like it is almost everything is best fresh. And the varieties of things that taste best don't generally keep best. And so the more that I learn about the seasonality of every food that we eat, the more joy I get out of my food. And so I don't have to have apples all the time. It's fine not to.
We don't buy mediocre strawberries in the winter, and we don't have mediocre strawberries year round, but we have like 2 weeks of like some of the best strawberries ever. The whole like joy of the seasonality of food is that like food, right, is best when it like comes right off the plant and onto your dish, or as few as days in between.
I think the other thing that's really exciting about the seasonality of food is that those limitations that you get really give you space for creativity. So if it's February and you've literally had the exact same foods in your pantry and freezer for 4 months, like nothing new has happened. And so you've got squash and onions and some meat and potatoes and sweet potatoes, and that's it. So you learn to make new things with squash that you would have never made before, and it opens up this whole space of creativity in your cooking that helps you look at your vegetables and your meat and whatever in a completely new way. And similarly, when you eat a whole animal, if you order, a side of beef or a half a hog or whatever, then you're not just eating steak and pork chops and ground beef. Like there are these things that I did not grow up eating, like ham hocks and, all sorts of stuff that, when you're at the bottom of your freezer and you've eaten all your pork chops and all your bacon, then you got to learn how to make the other parts. And that also opens up this whole creativity. So not only does it waste less meat, because it's not just what people will buy in the grocery store, so you eat the full animal, but it also like creates this exciting creative space.
I think one of our larger transitions from moving to the city to the country is like a change in our taste buds, or like we've become more attuned to like the way that food tastes. And I remember Wendell Berry's quote of like some of the best food that you will ever eat is like the food from your garden. And then like the first time I had a cucumber from my garden, I was like, oh, this tastes like a cucumber, I don't get it. And but then like several years later, after like not having tomatoes until August, then it's like, oh, these taste really good. Like these are life-changing tomatoes in the sense that I want to live my life in a way where I can have this kind of meal once a year, or,
For a time.
Yeah, for a month out of the year, and then it's done.
We raise pigs and we keep only a half a pig for ourselves every year, and that's all of our pork for the year. And that's about 12, maybe 14 pounds of bacon, which isn't enough bacon for the whole year for us because bacon's so delicious. But so we get our pork usually in October, November, but we try to save at least 2 packages of bacon for a BLT with our first tomatoes in August. So that's one of our big rituals, and it's like there's bacon sitting in the freezer for months just like staring at us, and we write, do not eat for a BLT. And that first BLT with bread that we baked and a tomato we grew, and there's usually not lettuce by then because our lettuce gets bitter, which is fine, is so incredible. I mean, it's not like any BLT you've ever had in your life. So it's very exciting, and it does create, I could have never imagined that a BLT would like be like a sacred meal, but it feels that way to me because it feels like we have held off for so long on this thing that we wanted, and it's very special.